Solving equations with variables on both sides. Okay, so let's look at our steps. And you might be a little confused, like why do we only have two steps for something that looks so confusing? Step one, do whatever mathematical operations necessary to get your variable on one side. What does this even mean? So let's take a look. We have 6x plus 7 equals 13 plus 7x. What variables are we working with? We're working with an x. We have we see the x pop up two different times. So let's do whatever mathematical operations necessary to get our x on one side. What do we do here? Let's get rid of this entire thing. Let's get rid of that 6x. So we're going to subtract 6x from both sides. That's going to leave us with 7 equals 13 plus x. Now, if you're wondering, how do you know to subtract 6x instead of subtracting the 7x? You could have done either one that you would have liked to do. The reason why I decided to subtract 6x instead of 7x was because if I subtracted 7 from 6, I was going to get a negative number, and then we were going to have to work with the negative. So I just decided to go with that. But if you want to work with a negative number and do that to yourself, then go right on ahead. So that's basically all it is. And then the second step says, once it is on that side, make sure it is the only thing on that side. So we don't have any x's on this side. The only x that we have left is over on this side. So the step says to make sure it is the only thing on that side. And so far it is not. We have a 13. That 13 is not being divided or multiplied. We see that it's being added. So we need to subtract 13 minus 13 minus 13. 7 minus 13 gives us negative 6. These go away, equals x. And that's all we have to do for that. Let's move on to the next problem, see what we have going on. Let me delete some of this. Okay, same thing. I'll bring our steps down, even though I don't really think we need to use them. I'll still bring them down though. Do whatever mathematical operations necessary to get our variable on one side. And I'm going to change this problem a little bit just so we don't think we always have to use the letter x. I'm going to change it to a y. Okay, so this looks a little messy right now. What do? We should distribute everything. And you might be wondering, I don't see anywhere on our steps where it says to distribute. Correct, but it says whatever mathematical operations. So I think distributing is a fair mathematical operation that we're going to have to do in order to get our x on one side, our y on one side eventually. 3 times 1, remember we distribute to everything in its parentheses. So 3 times 1 is going to give us 3. And 3 times negative 3y is going to give us negative 9y equals, now we're going to work with this side of the equation, 2 times negative 4y is going to give us negative 8y. Let me change our color. 2 times 7 is going to give us 14. Okay, so we still need to get our variable on one side. We see here we have a minus 9y. So I'm going to add 9y to both sides, plus 9y. These are going to go away, plus 9y. This is going to become 1y, so just y. And now let's rewrite everything. We still have that 3 over here, so I'm going to bring that here. 3, these went away, equals y, plus we still have this 14. Okay. So now that our variable is on one side, we only have one y to work with. It is not the only thing on that side yet. So once it is on one side, make sure it is the only thing on that side. How do we get rid of a plus 14? We have to subtract 14 from both sides. 3 minus 14 is going to give us negative 11 equals y. And that's it. All right, now let's move on to the last problem. I'll still bring down the steps just in case we want to look at them, but I'll encourage you to try it without looking at the steps, even if you were. I don't know if anybody had to use them, but like I said, I don't know. So if you need them, they're right there. Do whatever mathematical operations necessary to get our variable, this x, on one side. How do we get it on one side? I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides, because if I subtract 5x, I'm going to get a negative 3x, and I don't want to have to work with a negative 3x already. So I'm going to subtract this 2x minus 2x. These go away. Now I have 3 equals 3x minus 2. Great, so we got our variables on one side. We're done with that. Once it is on one side, make sure it is the only thing on that side. Is it the only thing on this side? No, we still have a minus 2. So how do I get rid of this minus 2? If you said plus 2, good job. Plus 2. 3 plus 2 gives us 5 equals 3x. Now, are we done? No, we're not. Remember in our last video, if you watched that, when we were solving our other equations, we need to get rid of whatever is directly affecting the x. And we see a 3 is directly affecting the x. So we need to divide by 3. And this just froze. Oh, there we go. 3x, divide by 3, divide by 3. And now we get 5. I'll scoot this up. Where did that 5 come from? There we go. 5 over 3 equals x. It's very easy. Just practice them, and I know for sure you'll understand how to do these problems.